Hello, good morning, and welcome here to July 20th on Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we're back with the series that I'm running. This is number 12 of my top 31 favorite albums that introduced me to these bands. Another 1979, I think it's like 3 or 4 of them in this week, Supertramp's Breakfast in America. Now, I do believe this was 1979 because I believe The Wall came out the next year. Yep, it is. Absolutely incredible album introducing this band to me. I had no pre-arrangement with Supertramp. I'd not heard anything from them before, didn't know nothing about them. They were a complete mystery to me until this album came out and introduced the band to me. This is a top to bottom home run hitting album. Absolutely killer. I love it. Yes, it's more commercial sounding than Crime of the Century, but has some absolutely astounding songs on it. And when they toured this, I also have the Live in Paris album, which plays a lot of this stuff on it. Absolutely killer. So for me, Supertramp 1979, an introduction to them. I was told a bunch of stories about them. I don't know how true that they were, that some millionaire hunted them all down and put them together as a band and made this band into a band. I think that's more of a urban myth than it is anything else. However, this is an absolute killer group of musicians with one of the best, arguably best kind of progressive kind of pop sounding albums I've ever heard. Absolutely killer. There's 10 tracks on this album, all of them super, and that's why we call them Supertramp, right? So this, of course, is my number 12. So we're getting close to the top 10 now. Gone Hollywood, great tune. The Logical Song, of course, is probably, I don't know if it's the most well-known song on this album. Definitely was one of their big hits for sure. Goodbye Stranger, another one of those hits from the album. Really catchy song. Then Breakfast in America, the title track, which is also a big hit for them. And Oh Darling, maybe the weakest song on the album, but not a bad song by any stretch. Then you get the backside of the album, Take the Long Way Home. I think this is probably, arguably, my favorite Supertramp song. It's definitely up there. Lord Is It Mine, which is the next track, is one of the other 2 or 3 that belong in that same vein of thought. The back 3 songs here, Just Another Nervous Wreck and Casual Conversations. These are okay tracks, a little more bluesy oriented and not my favorite tracks on the album, but then it ends off with Child of Vision, which is absolutely killer. Just absolutely one of the best albums of that year, or any year for that matter. Album cover's a little different. I didn't know much about them, and then I fell in love with this album. It took me actually quite a few years after this to make a move for more stuff by them. It wasn't until actually, I think, probably my daughter's childhood where I bought all of the remaining all the ones that are well known, Crisis, What Crisis, Even in the Quietest Moment, and Crime of the Century. Those 3 albums I started to get into right around the time that she was about 3 or 4, and cemented this band as one of my favorite bands of all time. And this album was the one that brought it to fruition. It introduced me to them. Yes, like so many bands of that time period, I was introduced to them, and then I just took years to continue the journey. That's all that's taken place. So I'm grateful for this channel because it allows me to express those things. So for me, the Supertramp phenomenon continued after my daughter was born and has remained on high alert ever since. This is such a fantastic album, such a great band with so many good albums. Up until recently, I thought they had no bad albums. I did discover one recently on one of Ben's ranking the albums shows that I wasn't crazy about. So I'm interested to see if I'll change my opinion about it over the time. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of my top 31 albums that introduced me to these bands for the month of July, the series that we're continuing. If you have enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe. Any comments about Supertramp in general, or this album specifically, or any song, or anything that you like that you've heard, or anything I've said, you can put that in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And please join me again here on Prog Monster for another video tomorrow. Take care and have a good one. Good night.